Anyone who has ever attempted to platinum a game before knows that the journey to the platinum never goes smoothly. There can be various things that stop you in your tracks, like broken trophies, missing collectibles, or just following bad guides. Anything can stand in your way and anything can turn a 40-hour game into a 100-hour game. Simple. No game quite captures this for me quite like Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Now this should have been a 40-hour game, but instead I have turned it into a 6-year and 3-day game. So in case you haven't guessed from that, we're going to be talking about my longest platinum journey today. Hello trophy hunters and welcome back to the channel. Tanya here, and today we're going to be taking a little trip in our time machine back to 2002. So this is when Vice City originally released, and it is the PS2 to PS4 port that I'm playing, or that I was playing for my platinum. So although this is kind of a re-release of Vice City, it is still basically the 2002 game. I am going to insert, I guess, a spoiler warning here because I might be talking about some of the sort of late stage missions, and all the gameplay footage I have is late game, just because, as I said, it did take me 6 years to achieve this platinum, so I wasn't recording my early game stuff way back in yesteryear. Although I have inserted the spoiler warning, it is a 20-year-old game, so, you know, if you haven't played Vice City by this point, you probably aren't going to, but spoiler warning nonetheless. In terms of the trophy list, Vice City actually has a really good mix of trophies in there. So there are your standard like story mission trophies, which are tied to, you guessed it, story missions. So you get these as you progress through the game. There are ones for the side activities like the vehicle missions like Vigilante, Fire, Taxi, you know, all the good stuff from retro GTA games. There are, you know, the collectible ones like getting the hidden packages, the stunt jumps, which is everyone's favourite part of a GTA game, I'm sure. Not. And then there are also a good couple of fun ones in there, like sniping a seagull and getting a score of 5 with like the Keepy Uppy beach ball. So it's a good, fun and varied list. You also have to get like 100% completion for one of them, which, you know, I'm kind of torn about 100% completion trophies. On the one hand, if it's a good 100% completion list, it's a fun trophy to go for. If the game's incredibly long and grindy, please do not include 100% completion trophies. But in terms of the 100% completion in Vice City, I'll probably touch on this a bit later, but in general, fun. I liked it. I think including 100% completion in this list was a good choice. Now, although most of the trophies in this game are fun, there is one absolute stinker of a trophy, and that is called Take the Cannoli. Take the Cannoli is the trophy which requires players to earn the Godfather criminal rating, and this equates to a score of 1 million. I don't really know if it's like points or what, but you need a million criminal rating anyway to be a Godfather, and this is 100% not attainable in a natural playthrough. There's no way you will ever naturally get this trophy. And the method I used to get this trophy was incredibly long and convoluted, and I'll insert a picture here of the steps, the 17 steps I took to get this trophy. So I'm a fool, and I ended up deleting my original 2016 save file for this. So I ended up doing this on a new save file, which ended up being my 100% run one, which, I mean, it kind of worked out, I suppose. But, you know, the general gist of what I had to do for this is I had to use the money exploit in Cone Crazy. That's one of the mini games you have to do where you get like 5 different checkpoints in a car park. If there's an exploit where if you hit the marker at 0 seconds 7 times, and then if you hit it going up by 1 second every time after that, you can basically get like infinite money. So I had to do that. Then I had to collect 80 hidden packages, which I ended up just doing the full 100 because you need that anyway. But you have to collect 80 hidden packages to get the Sea Sparrow. You have to glitch across the map, either through the marina, through one of the gates. If you park an ambulance there, you can like jump over it. Or there's a bridge leading into downtown, which I'm pretty sure is where I glitched through. And you can kind of like run under the map, I think, and then you end up in downtown. It's been a couple of years since I did this. I got this trophy in 2019, so I can't quite remember. but I'm pretty sure that's what I did because I couldn't get the marina one to work for me. So after you've done all that, you need to shoot 100 bullets exactly, and you need to make sure you have like a shooting accuracy of 0 before you do that, otherwise this won't work. After you've done that, you then go to Vice City Estates and you get the Sea Sparrow, and then you fly it over to the movie studio, and then you just like rubber band your controller shooting at this Packer for like 18 hours, and then boom, the trophy pops. That's ridiculous. Like, there's just no way that is the easiest method of getting this trophy, but it is. Like, that is what I had to do. This took hours of setup. You know, if something goes wrong, you have to do the whole thing again. I remember refreshing PSN profiles when I was at work that day, just waiting to see if the trophy popped. And then as the hours ticked by, I was getting more and more nervous. But eventually we got there. We got Take the Cannoli. And honestly, that trophy really did take the cannoli, because that's one of the most ridiculous things I think I have ever done for a trophy. But we did it. That was the most difficult thing in this platinum, I would say, is just the intense, convoluted, laborious method that you have to do to get the trophy. But we did it. It was actually Take the Cannoli that stopped me playing this game for so long. Like, Take the Cannoli is the reason that I didn't pick this game up again until now. I was kind of in the mindset that if this trophy was so unbelievably ridiculous to attain, imagine how ridiculous getting 100% completion in the game is going to be. Like, if I have to jump through all these hoops just to get a criminal rating, what do I have to do for 100%? Well, it turns out you don't actually have to do anywhere near as much as you do for Take the Cannoli. The 100% completion, as I think I mentioned earlier, in Vice City is actually a really fun 100% completion to go for. I think that there is a really good mix of activities in the game, and most of them are really fun. So the things I enjoyed most about the 100% completion, I actually really enjoyed the stadium events. I think they're really fun. I love the car lists. I do like collecting all the fast cars and bringing them back. The street races I actually surprisingly enjoyed. I'm not normally a racer, but they were a lot of fun. And the rampages are definitely my favourite thing. You also had to do things like the RC races with like the little helicopters and planes and the RC bandit car. Those are pretty awful. It's mainly the controls that make them so awful, but they were the worst of the 100%, I would say. And then you had things like the dirt tracks and the copter or chopper challenges where you have to fly through certain routes around the city. And all in all, it was a very fun 100% list, and I did really enjoy going through each activity and like ticking it off my list. And it made me realize how much I missed like the old school GTA games. Like, the old school GTA games really knew how to give players fun side activities. So, I mean, if you take GTA 5, for example, they want you to do yoga. Like, you're doing yoga, you're playing golf, you're doing darts, like, you're doing, like, normal things a normal person would do. But, like, GTA games are different. You know, you're not a normal person. You're, like, a complete and utter psychopath. Like, if you want to go and, like, massacre a whole street, fair enough. But you know, I just think the side activities in the retro GTA games are a lot more fun, and I do think the retro games, they just have that, I don't know, they're just missing something, or they have something that the newer ones are missing. The new ones don't pack that same punch, and I miss that. If we could bring that back for GTA 6, I would appreciate that a lot. But in terms of 100%, sorry for my tangent, but in terms of 100%, the thing I was actually worried about the most was the stunt jumps, because I know how finicky they can be, and every sort of plot breaker about Vice City that I've seen, it's been the stunt jumps. You know, I'm missing one stunt jump. What is it? Luckily, I did not have that issue. Thankfully for me, I got the stunt jumps almost first time on all of them, and by the time I worked my way through the 36, I had all 36. So that was my biggest worry when it came to 100%, that I got there. We did it. We got the 100% trophy. So all that was left, or we got the 100% trophy at the end, but I had done all the activities for the 100%. So all that was left to do after I had done all my side activities was finish my asset missions and my remaining story missions. So in general, Vice City missions are actually pretty short. They're way shorter than the newer GTA games, and I will include San Andreas in this because San Andreas has some quite long missions. But the ones in Vice City, they're short and sweet. And considering the age of the game, they're actually pretty varied as well. So you have like your assassination missions, which some of them are very similar to GTA 5 missions. Like there's a couple I was playing and I was like, wow, this is like one of Lester's missions, you know? There is different asset missions. So you can buy different businesses around the city and you do different missions to turn this property into an asset, which then produces money for you. So like the Malibu Club, you do a heist, which again, very similar to GTA 5. Some of the heist missions were a bit annoying. Actually, all of them were quite annoying. Particularly the final one where it is like a shootout in a bank. This one took me a couple tries. And again, it's due to the age of the game and the janky 2002 controls. Any sort of shootouts indoors were a bit of a nightmare to complete. But it was still a fun mission. It was still an interesting mission arc, I suppose. And I did enjoy doing them. The story missions, you know, the story was okay. I think Vice City probably has quite a weak story, but again, when the game released, it was like groundbreaking for its time. But we're used to these ridiculously involved, crazy stories with Grand Theft Auto games, and Vice City didn't quite have that. So the story missions were okay, but you know, I feel they would be a lot better if like they were able to do a full-on remake of Vice City and retell Tommy Vercetti's story. I think we would see a lot more, but it was still enjoyable. So there we have it. Despite starting this game in 2016 and not finishing it until 2020, I am a Kingpin. I have the Vice City Platinum, and this was a very enjoyable Platinum to go for. It did have its faults, take the cannoli. It did have its issues. The controls for the 2002 game aren't quite what 2022 games are like. But overall, all flaws aside, Vice City was a lot of fun. GTA games are always a lot of fun. And I'm quite happy I have this Platinum in my collection because the PS2 port version of Vice City does only have a completion rate of 11%, or like a Platinum completion rate, I suppose, of 11%. So this is one that's I'm quite glad I have in my collection. You know, I put a lot of time into this game, and you know, I think it's worth it. This would be a worthy trophy in my cabinet if I were to have a real trophy cabinet. So let me know down below, what has been your longest Platinum journey? Can you beat 6 years and 3 days? That's my record, and you know, I'm willing to be challenged on it. Also, let me know your thoughts on like the retro GTA games. Do you like them? They're probably some of my favorite games, and I could talk about them until the end of time. So let me know if you can as well. But thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the very next one. Bye!